This lesson is going to go over the second central measurement that we'll learn. And that measurement is called the median. And the median is different from the mean in that it doesn't find the average of all the observations, but rather it finds the value where half the observations are bigger than it and half the observations are smaller than it. Now, there's no necessarily direct way to find the value of the median. However, there is a formula to find the median's location. So we're going to write the median location formula. And to find the location of your median, and we'll talk a little bit about what that is and see an example, is we're going to take the number of observations in our data set, whether it's a sample or a population. In this case, I'm denoting it as a sample by writing lowercase n. We're going to add 1 to that and divide by 2. Now, this will not give the value of the median, but rather the location. And if we were referring to a median associated with a sample, we would denote that as MED. If we were talking about the median associated with a whole entire population, we would denote that as mu 1/2. So let's see an example on how we would find the median. And we'll use an example that we've previously went over in another video, which is a sample of 7 observations for college student hourly salaries. So if we were to find the median of these 7 observations, again, we don't have a formula to find the exact median. We do have a formula to find the location. So if remember, that formula was n plus 1 over 2, which in this case we have 7 observations. And what this is saying to do is it's not saying the median is 4, but rather the location is the 4th observation. So what we would typically do is we would count 1, 2, 3, 4, and this would be our median, 19. However, if we think about 19 and we look at this data set, we notice only one number is larger than 19, and that's observation 5, a person who makes $23 an hour. The other observations, all of the other observations, are less than 19. So 19 actually is not our median. What we needed to consider, however, is we needed to put the order of the observations into play. We haven't ordered our observations. So what we would want to do is order all of our observations. 11 is the smallest, 13 is the next smallest, and we're just putting it from smallest to largest. And now that location formula is telling us to go to the 4th observation. 1, 2, 3, 4. Lo and behold, 15 is our median. And since this is a sample, we'll denote that as MED, right? So when you find the median, make sure that you sort the data. All right, so we'll do one more quick example to find the median, because an interesting thing happens when you have an even set of data compared to an odd set of data. So in this case, we now have 8 observations in our sample of college student summer job hourly salaries. And maybe this 8th student was Mark Zuckerberg's assistant or something like that, and they make a whopping $128 an hour. Good for them. I would probably switch jobs with them in a second if that was the case. But now that we have an even set of data, when we find the location, all right, of our median, we now have 8 observations in our sample, and our n in this case, 2, was 8, and we end up with the value 4.5. So this says go to our 1, 2, 3, 4.5 point. So right here would be 4.5. And what we do is, since it doesn't fall on an exact number, is we take the average of the 2 numbers adjacent to that line. So to find our median for an even set of data, we take 15 plus 17, divide by 2, and we would end up with 16. And since this is a sample of data, we would write MED.